So, what are you seeing, or who are you seeing, I should say, is the sort of the typical client that decides to use a DST versus traditional 1031 process?
Yeah. So, we do a lot of 1031 exchange and we get to see all different scenarios out there. I would say that the most common 1031 exchanger who's going into a DST is someone who has been involved in real estate and they're really getting to a point in their lives where, they've done a few 1031 exchanges in their lifetime on their own. They've bought a few properties, and it's a recognition that their time is so much more valuable today, and they just don't want to be as hands-on on owning that real estate and dealing with tenants and toilets and trash and everything that comes along with managing a property on your own. And so they're just looking for a passive income stream and that tax deferral, of course. So that's our main investor today. But you'll also see the younger entrepreneurs who just don't have experience managing real estate, and they're gonna do a 1031 exchange into a DST because they realize it's not their passion, it's not what they're after. So they'll do a 1031 exchange into a DST for the tax benefits. But we've seen just about every reason under the sun as why someone wants to do one.
And for that late stage investor that you were describing first, they may have their assets as one, two, maybe three, four properties. If it's one, especially, the difference between owning one property and now being part of a pool of $60 million portfolio of property brings diversification that is even more important for a late stage investor who's looking to protect their principal. How do you guys diversify the assets?
Yeah, it's a really good point. In our typical DSTs, you're going to see anywhere from 5 to 25 assets in one individual DST. And so investors are getting exposure to several different tenants, sectors, and
geographic
location. Absolutely. And that's a huge benefit for investors compared to having all their eggs in one basket.
So one hurricane isn't going to remove 100% of their portfolio.
That's correct. And then, on top of that, we stick to investment grade credit tenants in the necessity retail and healthcare space. And the parent companies, whether it's a Tractor Supply or it's a Whole Foods or a Kroger, that is the guarantor of those leases that the investors are going to be receiving their monthly income from.
And back to that late stage investor that you're describing, one of their concerns is leaving a legacy very often in my conversations with people in that category. And so they may be resistant to sell that property because they know when they pass, it's going to step up in value to their heirs. They still have that benefit in the DST as well.
Absolutely. You'll still get a step up in basis. And, honestly, what we see a lot is that the person who currently owns the property, they may be passionate about real estate and have the experience and the expertise and years of doing it.
But their kids
and
aren't.
more than half the time, the beneficiaries have zero experience, zero desire to gain any experience, and they don't want to deal with it. And
they
so
need a professionally
managed portfolio. And investors who are doing a 1031 exchange seek out a DST for estate planning purposes, because once that DST liquidates, whether it does a 721 exchange into a REIT or it just sells, it is divisible amongst the beneficiaries. And if you've got 4 kids or 4 beneficiaries or 10, it can be separated that way. We're owning, an apartment building. I have seen some feuds and some fights. We should hold on to it. We should sell it. We should, there's all differing opinions there. So a DST can be very helpful for estate planning purposes.